What's going on, YouTube? It's Donnie B all day. So today I'm bringing you another part of my bug out bag must-have series. This one is kind of an important one to me. I think that it is a huge necessity when it comes down to putting together a bag that you need for absolute survival. Now, again, when we talk about bug out bags or go bags, a lot of people feel that a bug out bag or a go bag has to do with, you know what I mean, the FBI's after you and you need to get out of the house and go stay in a hotel. So you got to have cash and passports and guns and things like that. That's not a bug out bag to me. A bug out bag to me is all of a sudden there's a wildfire that's coming to knock you out of your homes, or there's a freaking invasion, or you know what I mean. A bug out bag is something where all of a sudden you need to go and you need to be able to survive, right? And you need to be able to survive with only what you can carry. And if the stores are all closed and there's nothing working and there's no hotels that you can stay at, and you need to live, you need to feed, you need to sleep, you need to keep warm, right? All this stuff. Everything that you need to survive should be able to be in one bag. And this one is pretty simple. I know it looks pretty easy and it doesn't look like there's much to it, but as far as survival, these things are huge. They're called tree steps, right? And this one in particular you can get at Dick's. It's the Ameristep Grizzly tree step, and you can see it's a pretty burly tree step. It's got a 2-inch thread length. It's got a 6-inch step length, and it's strength tested to 1,250 pounds. I did not memorize that. I actually have a computer right back at you. So, but they are extremely convenient. We're going to take them outside and show you, because talking about it doesn't really do much. But I will tell you this, it is what it looks like it is. Now, if you have a go bag, you already have some kind of knife or some kind of hammer, so you can always get your threads started before you begin to spin them into a tree. And with a knife especially, you can use, you know, you can cut down a baton and baton it in there to get it started. What these are great for is everything and anything. You need to be able to hang food to keep it off the ground so animals don't get it. Put this right there, you hang that right there. You need to, you know, even something as simple as a coat hanger, you know what I mean? Something that you know is going to work, boom, you put that into the ground, boom. You need to be able to tie off a string or set up a log high up to where you're going to be building a shelter, or hanging a hammock. Put this in, you stand on it, you can reach a little higher. You put 2 of them, now all of a sudden you're climbing. But one of the great things that these are for is this. Put them into sticks. Now you have 2 platforms. So let's say you need to make a like a lean-to shelter, right? If I have 2 standing trees with no wedges, no V's, and you can't take a log and put it against 2 straight trees because you let it go, it's going to fall to the ground. You can take any tree now, any tree, to use for a shelter building, because you put one of these, boop, in a tree, and one of these, boop, in a tree, and then you take your log and you go in between and let it rest on these. I'm going to take you outside and show that. Hopefully I'll have 2 trees that are going to be in a good enough distance so we can get that going. And I'm going to show you how simple it is to start and make a lean-to, or even a two-sided, like a triangle. And these guys right here, they're lightweight, they mean nothing, and you want to get 2 of them because of that factor alone. Boom. 2 of them does help for climbing, things like that, but it really makes a difference. Shelter building, these 2 make shelter building almost a guarantee. Almost a guarantee by just having 2 of these goofy little steps. And so you know, they are textured, right? They're you can see it right there. I can get it in clear, but so you don't have to worry about your feet sliding and slipping off of it, or when you put on a log, you don't have to worry about it falling off because it's upswept, so it will catch that log. Fantastic must-haves for your go bag, and you can even make like little Wonder Woman stuff. But these guys right here are absolute. So let's go outside and we'll put these to the test. I'll show you how to use them. Self-explanatory. I don't really need to, but this is what we do here. A 30-second video is going to make you go, wow, that was great. Thanks. So let's go outside and get that done. All right, so here we are. We're out in the woods. We are in a position where we just got trapped. We're stuck. Something happened. We couldn't leave, or maybe we want to stay. We're on a hike where we can't get to our destination in one day and we need an overnighter. So the first thing you want to do is you need to find a place where you can build your shelter. You need flat ground, and you need at least your body height lengthwise, because you need a place where you can lay down without needing to curl up, because in the middle of the night, if you stretch out and you kick down your shelter, you're screwed. So what I found was these two trees here. They're over 6 feet apart, which is good for me. Now, what I did is if I was out, I would have some kind of hatchet or some kind of big knife, generally a big knife. But this one, the Cold Steel Axe Gang hatchet, is going to be the one for me. Now I have a tree here and a tree here. One's leaning this way, one's leaning that way. If I wanted to take one stick and go in between them, it has nothing to grab onto, right? So I need to make sure that I can put up a shelter without having to go all the way to the top of the tree before it splits. So the first thing I want to do is clear the extra, and that's pretty simple. Next, what I need to do is I need to figure out what side I'm going to do my lean-to on. So what I'm thinking is this side right here, because I have a whole lot of flat ground right there, and I have a whole lot of crappy logs and stuff right here. So where my log is going to set doesn't really matter, because it's going to work on both sides. However, it's better if you're putting the weight against the edge. So if I want the logs to go on this side and this way, I don't want to put my steps over here, because the weight could push my log off of my steps. So I want to put them on the same side. So the same side your logs are leaning, that's where you put your steps. You can use your own body height to figure out how high you want it to measure equally. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the step right in the center of my chest, and that lets me know, okay, this is where I want to get started. I'll put that one down, and I'm just going to give it a light tap, and then I can start screwing it in by just turning it. And the screw here is so good that basically you're just getting it started, and it's really, really simple. I mean, this thing is going through all by itself. I'm just winding it up at this point, and you see how easy it is. And there's some threads on there, and I want to get all the way to my last thread. So now I have a step that I can hang on to, and it's in there pretty good. Well, I need to measure? No, I don't, because I already know. Center to chest, that's where I'm putting my next step. And I'm going to give it a couple taps. Remember, if you don't have an axe, you can just use a simple baton. Anything will work to get it started. And if you can just press hard enough, or if it's soft wood, you don't even need to worry about. But you see how easy this is, where I'm just literally winding it. And I'm going to get to the same place, to that last one. And now I have a step here and a step here. So there we go. It's getting warm outside, right? It's actually not, but while I'm working, I have a place to hang my gear. Now it's not going to get cold and wet and all crappy. So it's actually kind of chilly out here though. So now what I need to do is I need to find a crossbar, right? And I only need it to be this long. However, a little long is better than a little short. So let's see here. I don't even think I'm into film, but so now what I did is I just found a log that was already on the ground and I cleared it. So let's see if this is long enough. If not, I'll just choose a different one. But yeah, I could use a longer one. This is what happens when you don't measure. So it's about there. So this I can use as the base, but I'd really want a straighter one. So what I'm gonna do is keep this for some downward pillars, and I'm gonna get myself a straighter piece. And I don't know if I'm in the shot or not, but I found a nice straight one right here. While I take this down, I'm gonna press pause because it's gonna bore the hell out of you. Ta-da! All right, so I found a straighter piece, and here I have it. This right here is not going anywhere. My steps are gonna hold it up, and that's exactly what I want. So now I just take a bunch of pieces and I get them to the length I need to be able to lean them at an angle where I can get under this thing. And that's all it's gonna take. So what I wanna do is I just wanna get a bunch of sticks and branches, and I need to make them about the same length. So I'll take my first one, and now I know how long to make the rest of them. And it's pretty simple. Pretty damn simple. Now, when you see me take off all these pieces, that doesn't mean get rid of them. Because what's gonna happen is I could use them for a couple of different things. I could use them as flooring, right, and put them down, or when it's all complete, lace them in for cross pieces. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press pause, and I'm going to get a bunch more of these. We're gonna have this done pretty quick. All right, guys, so I put down a bunch of logs, as you can see, I mean, a bunch of sticks. So now it's time to start thatching, right? So basically what you do is you come over and you start at the bottom, and you just try to get a good spot, obviously. Lay a bunch of whatever you have, if it's leaves or pine needles, anything like that, and pre-chop a bunch of them. Don't just go get one at a time. You know what I mean? I went and chopped down a bunch of this stuff, so basically I can get this started. And what I want to do is I want to interlock it if I can, and just start getting it. Anything it can hook onto, I want to hook onto it. And the more I can get thatched, the better it's going to be. All this is going to do is provide shelter from wind and other things that you don't want getting in there. You know, it can slow down snow from accumulating on you, which stinks if you're out in the wilderness and you're getting snowed on at night. Nobody wants that. So just simple thatching. That's all it comes down to, is just weaving in and out pieces of whatever you can find, even if it's just old leaves and you just have to keep stacking from the bottom and going up, up, up. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep loading bunches up until I have enough to make some kind of wall, and I'll show you from there. Hold on. Oh. All right, so as I'm building, what I want you guys to see is what I'm doing is some of the smaller pieces of needle that I have, I want to use on the inside as flooring. So what I did is I took a bunch of sticks, went across the snow that way to give a buffer to get those needles up in the air. And then I'm taking any pieces, short pieces like this or branches that I can find, and I'm going to lay them across that way. So I have a nice high pile that'll keep me off the ground of pine needles. Pine needles don't provide warmth. However, they will block the wind and they will keep the snow off me, which in turn will make me warm. So that's good. And having the buffer back here, and I'm just getting started, obviously, but having the buffer back here is going to not just keep the wind from blowing at me this way, but it's also going to be able to keep the heat in for when I make my fire. And I'll be showing you that, so hold on. All right, so this is where we are. I have a bed laid down, someplace I can rest. I have a windbreak right there. And now if I wanted to make it fully freaking windproof, I could spend the next hour doing that and fill in every little gap. But this is a tutorial on freaking tree steps. And how are these tree steps doing? Well, let's take a look. There's a tree step right there. One on the other side. And this whole thing right here is being held up purely on these two steps. Why is it important to have tree steps? Ta-da! So now the last little thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little fire pit and make a little fire, and that's going to end it pretty much. So hold on. Okay, so this is the last part of the journey right here. I'm going to light a fire. Now I don't have a bunch of stones, and you can't really light a fire on the snow. It's not very good. So what I'm doing is I'm taking all my tinder, keeping it aside, and I took some logs, some sticks, and just put them in a cross pattern there. And now I just need to shave down some of this wood. A little help of the Essie Avispa. Wow, that's a great knife. Let's see, I want to make a little tinder out of this stick. And I need something to bounce it on. I didn't think about that when I was making this. All right, so I'm going to stand over here real quick. You guys can stare at the shelter. It's beautiful. And I'm just going to break down this stick. I need a little baton. Hold on a second. I'm just going to press pause. This has got to be... Okay, so now I got my sticks broken up. I'm going to keep them really close to where I want to put my fire. I got my ferro rod in my pocket with my striker. And now I'm going to place my tinder on top of my sticks and see what we can't get for fire here. Come on, light motherfucker. Let's see. It looks like we have fire, everybody. Looks like we have fire. So remember, when you're lighting a fire, make sure you use small pieces to start. Don't think you're going to start a fire with a bunch of big hunks of firewood. It's just not going to work. Oh yeah. Get as much light, dry stuff as you can find. And that's how we get it started right there. That's pretty simple. So that's it. I used 2 tree steps and made a lean-to in an area where it is not good to make a lean-to just because of the straight trees, right? So here's the thing with let me get inside my lean-to here. Here's the thing with hiking and whatnot. You always hear, you know, leave nothing, you know, or take nothing, leave only footprints, blah 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 blah. We hear that all the time. But here's the thing, if you're in a spot that is frequented by hikers and you just get this blasted nasty storm come through and you're like, oh crap, you know what I mean, I'm gonna build something for tonight and I'm gonna stay in it, blah blah blah, you have to think to yourself, the next day when you leave, somebody without the skills or talents that you might have might be also walking through the woods, and if they get stuck without a shelter, they could die. You know what I mean? Anybody can. If you don't know how to do something as simple as this, you can die. So they say leave nothing, but I say if you are good enough to make yourself something to survive in, and you know other people are going to be walking up and down, it's kind of a dick move to break everything down and go build your own, dude. This is easy. This is easy. It's easy to build. It's easy to leave. If you think you're going to be coming back, especially, let's say you're going out and
you're tracking out, you're going to build a spot, you're getting to a destination, then you know you're turning around the next day, you got to come back to it, leave it up. The next day it'll still be there, I guarantee it. Nobody's going to come down and take apart your shelter. Nobody's going to do that. But this is what it's all about, guys. I can feel the warmth hiding. Even though this is pretty airy, I can still feel the warmth from this little tiny fire just kicking in and making it feel real good. So so that's it. Bug out bag must-haves. This is, I think, what, part 3 I think I did. The steps, tree steps, are a major find and a major usage. Oh my gosh, that feels good. When you're out in the woods. Survival. This is what it comes down to, guys. It's the simplest stuff. All right, well, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to enjoy my little fire for a few minutes. I'll break it down and I'm going to go inside where I don't need a fire. Yeah. All right, I'm done to be all day. Until next video.